decided to try something a little different for the YouTube video today. And if also you want to check me out on twitch.tv/griffybit, you can find me there. And also, I have 2 other videos available for Genshin Impact for the Scuffed guys, so if you want to take a look, all you can find is in the description below. Alright, let's get into it. Today what we're going to talk about is gacha games. Now, gacha games are either A, a blessing, or B, a complete curse. As a very biased opinion, you either have a left side or a right side, you never have both. Now the thing is, as well, is the problem with that is trying to give a review on a gacha game is you'll have so many people that hate it and so many people that will like it. The people that'll hate it probably don't want to spend any money on it or have spent money on it and got incredible bad RNG. Or the people that do like it are complete whales who have spent thousands of dollars on it or have an insane gambling addiction. Now, see, the problem with that is it's kind of a double-edged sword. In me speaking as double-edged sword, doesn't matter what you do in what scenario, in a gacha game, you're somehow gonna get burnt. Now, for instance, if you went fully free to play, if you do not prioritize your main currency, which is the currency that you can buy with real in-game cash, if you just flaunt that willy-nilly and screwed yourself, well then you are stuck in a soft cap way earlier than you should have been, and you can't get out of it because you're free to play. I've had that problems many a times with Raid Shadow Legends. I had the problem with Genshin Impact. I made the mistakes. I also had the mistake of idle heroes. That was also a big mistake that I had, and it ended up forcing me to spend money. But realistically, that's where this game comes down to, or any gacha game for that matter. It has 3 priorities. You have your energy, or in this case, this game, resin. You have currency, which is the in-game currency, which you can use to spend in anything. Let's put currency and materials together, because that's with any gacha game. Artifacts, you got armor pieces, they're all the same. And of course, the currency that you can buy with real game money, or you can somehow farm it in-game depending on what you do. For this game, there's tons. For Raid Shadow Legends, there's special events. For Idle Heroes, there's special events. But for this game, it mostly gives you flaunting away until you get to a cap where you can't really gain that much once you've beaten 8-3, a Spiral Abyss, and gone to basically every chest, and you have done basically every achievement. Then it becomes a little bit of a soft cap. That's when you hope new content will come out. But, yeah. I'm going to tell you guys a story. So back in the day, when I played a gacha game called Idle Heroes. It's a pretty good game. It's a pretty well-known game. It recently came out with a brand new server. So we joined that server. I started playing it. I started going hard. I started really enjoying the game. So what I did was I created a clan. I created a clan on day 1, and I started pushing hard. I started spending money. I found other people that joined me, and next thing you know, we had an army. We had an army that we were pushing so well. We had everything that we needed to do, and we pushed consecutively for 3 months. We were rank 1 guild in the game for guild battles, PvP, vice versa. Literally, you'd look at the PvP list, there would be me, my 2 guildies, and then a bunch more of my guildies, and then there would start being the other people. We had it locked down for 3 months. But see, the problem with gacha games is they may say that they're pay to progress, but majority of the time they're pay to win. Because we were spending roughly about $200 a month on this game, okay? In order to keep our number 1 spot, we were paying upwards of $200. We were having our strats all correct. We were spending it where it needed to be. And then this Korean team, which I forget what the name was, because it was all in symbols, they came in and they were dropping $2,000 a pop. They had literally every single best in slot character fully ascended, fully maxed out. They were spending $2,000 a month and they were stomping our faces in. Now, this is the problem with gacha games. We were sitting there consecutively for 3 months, and their character level was lower than ours. But the fact that they spent the money to get the better pieces, to make their characters that much stronger and synergize that much easier, ruined the game for us. We spent the next 3 months trying to keep up with them and being able to beat them, but we could only beat them 1 out of the 3 times. So then it just got to a point where we quit and we stopped playing. We dropped the gacha game. But that's the biggest problem with gacha games is when you drop the game because you feel like there's no point to it anymore, you look back at it and you realize, wow, did I actually spend that much money on a video game? But see, I don't think of it that way. I don't think of, wow, I just wasted all my money. I think of it as a pay per hour sort of deal. I'm like, okay, how much did I spend on this gacha game? Say I spent $200. Okay? Spend $200 on a gacha game. But then I look at how many hours I actually played in that game. If I played 20 hours for $200, I was spending $10 an hour to play that game. That's not very good. That's bad. That's something you avoid of. But if you could spend $200 and spend 200 hours playing the game, well, then you're only paying $1 an hour. To me, that's worth. That's me getting my money out of the game. Because in the end, gacha games are free to play. They've always started free to play and they'll always be free to play. And that's the way it's going to be. But they always give you that ability to make transactions, to make it more premium currency, to make things more expensive. It's always completely your choice. But pay to progress is always there, and it is almost like a gambling addiction. You can end up getting to a point where you spend too much money to where you realize that you can't afford paying bills. Now, that is not the gacha game's problem. That is not the streamers rolling on the big expensive problems. That is you with you need self-discipline. I can play gacha games and I can spend money on games, but I can also know when to say, no, that's enough. Now you need to look and realize that gacha games aren't the problem. They may seem like they're a problem and it's a good thing to throw the blame on, but gacha games are actually not the problem in this scenario. They're just doing what they think is right. And they know they're a gacha game. They planted all over the wall that they're the gacha game. But you have the option to play free to play. But if you're tired of waiting and being impatient and impulsive, you will spend money on the game. Which isn't necessarily the best thing in the world. But that's just my 2 cents on it. But now let me tell you what the difference is between other gacha games and Genshin. Okay. Genshin doesn't have that big PvP difference. Okay. Most gacha games have a leaderboard, usually followed around arena with a team comp that you need to fight to see who's the best. This game doesn't have that. So the fact that they're doing that right makes this game's longevity last 10 times longer. It is basically a single player compared to a PvP multiplayer, which in my opinion is way better. I'll spend way more money on this game than I would. Because the 2 biggest problems is I was spending money on idle heroes to progress to be number 1 versus spending money on Genshin to get the endorphins to roll those better champions. I could play this game free to play, no issues. All the characters I get from free to play would be perfectly fine. As you can see in the top of my screen, I have a bunch of legendary characters. I've spent money on this game, of course, as you can see. I'm not free to play. But if I was to play free to play, it is completely doable. Raid Shadow Legends, I did streaming where I did Raid Shadow Legends and I did a free to play. Completely possible. It's a struggle, and I hit that hard soft cap. Now, what I mean by soft cap is basically you get to a point in a game where you cannot progress past your dailies. As soon as you're done your dailies, you cannot progress any further in any of the major content because your characters are not strong enough or you don't have the resources to spend to upgrade your characters. This is the problem with Genshin as well, is you spend all your stuff early on and you start progressing and then you're just like, I have so many champions, I'm going to give it to all my champions. This is with all the gacha games. You spend too much currency too fast, you burnt yourself, you put yourself in a soft cap. You don't look at a tier list, you don't look at anything. That is an issue, but it's not as big as an issue as it is in Genshin Impact than it is in Raid Shadow Legends or Idle Heroes. If you did that in Raid Shadow Legends or Idle Heroes, you're never going to hit the leaderboard, you're never going to get very top, and it's going to burn you in the long run. I will get burnt out faster from playing a gacha game that has a PvP leaderboard because there's so many whales versus a game like Genshin Impact where you can actually have fun cooperatively, play the game like it's almost Breath of the Wild, Breath of the Waifu, we all know that one, and have fun with it. The big thing is having fun with it. I like coming on doing my dailies. I enjoy that. When I had to go on and do my dailies at Idle Heroes, or do my dailies with Raid Shadow Legends, it felt like a chore. It felt like a job. It felt like I had to come on to do it. I didn't have a choice, because if I didn't, then I'd lose leaderboard, and then I'd feel bad, and then I'd feel like I spent all that money for nothing. That's an issue. Now, also the problem with gacha games is, well, we don't want to hear it, but you have to hear it. It's a gambling addiction. If you have issues with gambling addictions, you should not play gacha games. That's not good. Gacha games are a loophole for people that struggle with gambling addictions. I used to have a gambling addiction. Not proud of it, not happy of it, but I did used to have one. I used to spend crazy amounts of money, not even on gacha games, just on League of Legends, for instance. I've spent over $3,000 on skins, okay? That's a lot of money. If I look back and take back all the money that I've spent in every single game, it's probably around 15 grand. But, and that's me not being a streamer. That's not having streamer money or YouTube money or anything like that. That was my own money out of my own pocket. That's because what I did was I thought was right, and I got impulsive. So, and I'm sorry this is turning into a bit of a long video because I'm going on a bit of a rant here. But in the end, as the closing statements of this for Genshin Impact and gacha games in general, gacha games are harmless. Gacha games are fine. You yourself just have to be smart and learn from your mistakes. If you've made mistakes and you've gotten burnt from a gacha game, you've spent too much money, then you need to know that for the next time. Because the gacha game is not there to monetize how much money you spent. It's there to make money, and it's there to give people false enjoyment. Now, by false enjoyment, I mean they give you the endorphins and the satisfaction of you ruling Figment legendary characters. Or they give you an event to roll that legendary character. And then when you roll it, you're so high. It's almost practically like you're doing meth at that point because you're just on such a high streak. You're so stoked for the rest of the day. And then the next day, it kind of leaves a little bit, but you're still kind of stoked. And then as it goes on, you're like, oh, okay, so I feel like I'm back to normal again. I feel like I haven't really done anything that increases my endorphins. So that's when you start spending money again. You're basically paying money for stimulation. That's what it comes down to. Gacha games are paying for stimulation. And now if you can't get that stimulation, then you won't play the gacha game in the first place. That's why Raid Shadow Legends died for me. That's why Idle Heroes died for me, because it stopped getting to a point of stimulation and it got to more of a point as I feel like I'm working. So, closing statement here, because I do need to wrap up this video. Gacha games are okay. Harmless. I would condone them. I would play them. I don't say spend money on them. That's not what I'm saying. I've spent money on them. Doesn't mean you need to spend money on them. Play them. What I'm saying is play for a while. Okay? Play for a few, 20, 30, 40 hours. Okay? And then if you feel like you truly like the game and you want to spend a little bit of money on it, there's nothing wrong with that. Because if you keep in your head of how much to spend to the ratio of how much you've played, then it doesn't make you feel as bad spending that money. Because realistically, when it comes down to is every game maker needs to make money. They're playing free to play or if they have a free-to-play game, they need to make money somehow. I will give them money because if they make a good enough game that they keep me playing, I feel no problem in supporting the developers, supporting them to make more content, supporting them to keep the game. That, to me, is more important than hurting myself about spending too much money. Now, if you made it to this part of the video, I just want to say thank you very much for watching. I strongly appreciate you guys listening to my rant and my takes on gacha games. Like I said at the beginning, you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/griffybit. It's where I do most of my content. And if you want to ask questions in the channel about gacha games, Genshin Impact, or anything in between, you can do so. Hit that subscribe and like button to help the YouTube algorithm. Same with the notification bell. Help me get known. Be super appreciated. I respect every one of you that has been supporting my channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a whole shit ton. I've been your host for this video, GriffyBit. So, don't get corona, don't spend your money, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.